I can say with complete certainty that life is never predictable, right? Just when I breathe a sigh of relief because I feel like I've gotten a better handle on my depression and my anxiety, something unexpected will happen to affect it one way or another. Of course, if it's a good change, I love it. I celebrate and I do mental cartwheels of happiness. But when it's a bad change, it cuts deeply. Not only do I feel worse, but stay with me on this. I feel worse for feeling worse. Like having a dip in depression is a sign of weakness or an inability to live a whole and happy life. I sometimes forget this, but depression is not my fault. Depression is not your fault. It is a disorder that we must work with and make accommodations for in order to live life to the fullest extent. But it is not our fault. Welcome to Lily's Antidepressant Life. This is a safe place where we can share the ups and downs of depression and lift one another up. Today I want to discuss a detour that I've experienced on my journey with depression, and I bet a lot of you can relate. It all centers around the word deserve. Now, I am not a professional psychiatrist or psychologist. I am simply a regular person living with depression and anxiety and PTSD. Recently, I've shared that I added EMDR therapy to my arsenal of weapons in the fight against the mountain slide of depression that has tumbled most unwelcome into my life. And EMDR has been a game changer for me. It really has. EMDR stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing. I have to say it slowly because I always mess it up. Since I'm not a professional, I won't even attempt to explain the science behind it, but I can tell you that it has helped, especially with my complex PTSD and recurring nightmares. I feel like it's also helping me not feel quite so panicky when panic attacks drop by for an uninvited visit. EMDR is definitely helping me process my trauma. But even with the positive journey so far, there are always going to be dips in the road. And recently I had not one, but two dips that occurred back to back and really felt like major setbacks for me. First, a couple of weeks ago, I woke up in the middle of the night to hear a very unhappy person outside yelling, swearing, and moving through our neighborhood with much of what I assume was chemically enhanced anger. This person walked right by my apartment and it scared me. I made sure my windows were shut and I clutched my pepper spray in one hand and my cell phone in the other hand and just waited for something bad to happen. The proverbial waiting for the other shoe to drop. But instead of being just a vague feeling or fear of what could happen, it was really happening. There was a danger. It wasn't huge, but it was a danger. This angry individual did some damage on our street. He knocked over some trash cans and broke off some side mirrors from parked cars, and it was loud. I was trying to decide whether or not I should call 911, but I figured that if I called the police, that by the time they arrived here, this person would be gone already. I just waited it out, listening to his angry shouting as it faded slowly as he moved down the street. But I didn't really sleep well the rest of the night. I felt so vulnerable, so unsafe, even in my own home. This is not a good addition to my already simmering recipe of complex PTSD, nightmares, and anxiety. The next morning, I tried to act normally, even though I was already yawning at 8 a.m. But I don't like to make my son worry. He's in high school and has autism, so it's important to me to try to create a home environment that is stable and consistent, and that includes trying to regulate my mood around him. He doesn't deserve to have a bad day because I'm having a bad day. Well, we walked out to the car and discovered that I had been one of the not so lucky victims of this angry person's vandalism the night before. My driver's side mirror had been broken clean off and it was lying on the ground, disconnected. I picked up the mirror and threw it in the back seat and proceeded to try to push the whole situation into like a little box to compartmentalize, the actions of the world so that I wouldn't have to feel my feelings right then in front of my son. But of course, he noticed the damage to the car and was concerned, so we discussed it on the way to school. And in my usual way, I tried to keep it light and focus on the positives. It could have been worse. This is fixable. The damage to my car could have been considerable. And all the time, quietly, inside my frazzled brain, I also recognized the fact that he could have broken into our apartment. He could have broken our windows, our door. We could have been in danger. It could have been worse. I am the reluctant optimist, so I do always try to focus on the positives. So I kept saying, I'm grateful that this is it. I'm grateful that this is the only damage we have. So a week and $600 later, I was working on putting it all behind me when incident number 2 happened. I woke up during the night again, this time to hear sirens coming down my street. I heard one vehicle go screaming through the neighborhood, and then another one, and then another one. And I lost track of how many vehicles must be coming down my street. And they were stopping close by. You know how you can hear the siren turn off and guess kind of how close it is to you? It's kind of like counting the seconds between lightning and thunder. Let's count the seconds between the siren passing your window and turning off with a tone dropping off like a rock falling into water. It was close. Then all was quiet for a little bit. And then I heard footsteps running down the street. Although I couldn't tell which direction they were coming from or where they were going. And then I heard a helicopter fly overhead. Okay, at this point I was ready to climb under the bed and hide. Thankfully, my cousin figured out what was going on, and she let me know that there was actually a fire down the street. It was about 8 blocks away from us, and the fire was contained. So, we were all safe. The fire wasn't going to hurt us, and there were no crazy people outside trying to break in. I have no idea what the footsteps were that I heard, but I'm thinking now in hindsight, it was probably somebody running to the fire to help out. But my brain immediately felt danger. It's easy for me to feel like I'm in danger. And that isn't a good quality of life. So when it came time for my next EMDR, I had lots to talk about with my therapist. I told her about both incidences, and I tried to kind of gloss over it because I was kind of embarrassed that they affected me so much. But we talked about them thoroughly, and we spent some time doing the desensitization. See, I can't say that word. Desensitization exercises to help me process this new situation. And there are two things that really came to light during the session. First, she asked me when the scary person was making me feel threatened in my own home, why didn't I call 911? Good question. But what's weird is I didn't have a good answer. I mean, yeah, I figured that by the time the police came, he'd be long gone, but what if he hadn't? What if he had camped out right under my window? How long was it going to take for me to call out for help? She asked me why I didn't report the broken mirror to the police the following day, and I figured, what's the use? They can't catch the guy. I did spend some time talking to insurance, and I did actually talk to the police department, but it just seemed like it was a moot point, so I didn't. And then she asked me, oh, she's so good about digging into my brain. She asked me why I seem to be so accepting of bad things happening to me. And that's when I uttered the word that has become very profound for me. I said, why on earth do I think I don't deserve to have bad things happen to me? You know, bad things happen to good people every day. Bad things, unimaginable things, sad things, heartbreaking things. I don't deserve to be spared from that more than anyone else. That's not a very healthy thought. We spent some time focusing on that, and it was illuminating. She asked me what I do feel like I deserve in life, and I gotta tell you, I have a hard time saying I deserve anything good. You know, I grew up believing if you worked hard, you got rewarded. No one gets anything for free. There are no handouts. There's no entitlements. I deserve nothing. And then she took me by surprise by asking a little out of left field question. She asked me if I deserved to have my mirror broken off my car. And before I could even think about the question, I had already answered yes. Of course, then I had to go back and try to explain myself. And I admitted, rather grudgingly and quite embarrassingly, that when I discovered my car mirror lying broken and discarded on the street, the first thought that went through my mind was that it was all my fault because I had parked in my favorite parking spot, and I had been happy that I had gotten to park in my favorite spot. I was being selfish. My selfishness had caused something bad to happen, and so I deserved it. For the first time ever, my therapist was momentarily speechless, and a silence hung in the air for about 2.5 seconds. Wow. If anyone else said those words back to me, I would argue with them and say, of course not, that's ridiculous. But this is the first thing that popped into my head. It is ingrained in me. We began digging and probing more, and it became more and more evident that deep down inside my heart, I truly believe I deserve bad things to happen to me. And I can't name many good things I deserve in life. I was able to come up with a few. I deserve to be happy, but then I think my own happiness is my own responsibility. I deserve to be reasonably healthy, but well, that's kind of out of my control. I deserve to be, well, that's about it. Happy. That's all I could really come up with. But the bad things that happen to me, I deserve every one of them. The trauma I've experienced, I deserve that. Why not? Do I think I'm better than anybody else and I shouldn't have to go through the hard stuff? I totally deserved having a pair of sandals stolen from my front porch last summer. What was I thinking leaving them outside? It was basically an invitation for someone to take them. I remember one time being very proud that I'd saved a good chunk of money, and I was excited thinking about the fun ways I might be able to spend it. I was trying to think of a way to go away with my kids for a weekend. But then my cat had to have a surgery. And I felt like I deserved that unexpected expense because why should I feel entitled to having some extra money? I've never had a financial cushion before. Why would the universe allow me to have one now? It's like it's upsetting the balance or something. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not more special. Why would I think I deserved not to be lied to or cheated on? Wow. This was a light bulb moment. And saying it out loud now really, again, drives home how ridiculous it sounds. This is what abuse survivors really think about ourselves. We have it so deeply ingrained in our brain that we deserve the bad things that happen to us. And that is a lie, a huge lie. A monstrously evil and vile lie that trickles down into the invisible cracks of our psyche and lies in wait for a vulnerable moment to yell, aha, you deserve this. Why do you think you deserve more? But it's all a lie. My homework assignment for this week is to really think of the word deserve and to come up with positive things I think I deserve. It's been tough. I mean, way harder than I thought it would be. Like, it's excruciating. I can say I deserve to have shelter and sustenance and clothing to protect me. And we are talking about the most basic of basic needs. But even then I hesitate. Why do I feel like I deserve anything good? Now, I wish I had a perfect answer to share with you, like a perfectly timed sitcom resolution to a life-altering problem, just under 30 minutes minus commercials. But it's a big struggle to come up with good things I deserve. I asked my bestie. She came up with all sorts of good things that she thinks I deserve. I asked my dad, and he had a whole list as well. However, I'm still struggling to create a list that I can take ownership of. So while I'm working on this, my eyes have been opened to a whole new perspective. Maybe I don't need to focus solely on the good things I deserve, but spend some time convincing myself that I don't deserve the bad, because that is truth. I didn't deserve to have my mirror knocked off my car. I didn't deserve to feel scared and vulnerable in my home. I didn't deserve to have my sandals stolen. I know it sounds silly, but I didn't. I certainly never deserved to be abused in any way. So maybe my big aha moment is shifting from what I think I deserve to what I don't deserve. That might sound negative to some people, but for me, it's a huge step. The next time I feel in danger, whether it's in my home or not, or in the middle of the night or not, I will call out for help. because I deserve to feel at peace at home. I also deserve to get help when I need it. I deserve that. If my car gets vandalized, I shouldn't shrug my shoulders and say, well, I guess it was my fault. No, it was wrong. I was wronged. I didn't deserve that. Do you remember at the beginning of the podcast and I said that feeling worse about my depression makes me feel worse? I need to stop absorbing the blame for everything bad around me. And that includes feeling bad about having to battle depression. I mean, here are the facts. Depression is not my fault. Depression will always have ups and downs. And I can't control my depression. I can only manage it. I do not deserve depression. I have depression, and I'm fighting to get better. And I can't let one of those detours make me feel worse. So it's a work in progress, but I am committed to really thinking about good things that I deserve. And I want to encourage you to think about it for yourself. I am surprised at the little things that pop into my head when I allow these thoughts to grow. I deserve to see a beautiful sunset and enjoy a baby's deep belly laugh, and I enjoy smelling the spring flowers as they bloom. See, my list is growing. See if you can come up with your own list. Think of all the good things in life that you deserve. But more importantly, try to drown out the thoughts that you deserve any of the bad. That is an abuse survivor's mindset. We've been taught that we deserve the bad things and that we should just be grateful for what we do have. But we deserve more. We really do. So let's work together to change our mindset, and we can become unstoppable. All right, my friends, until next time, I hope you have a great time discovering all the wonderful things you deserve.